Hello, fifth graders, and welcome to your math lesson for today. For today, you will need your math resource binder, paper, pencil. So go ahead, if you need to go get these things, go do so, and then come on back and join me. So again, like a broken record, I repeat, fifth graders, right? Our warm-up problems are really going to be kind of predictive of the next quarterly assessment that we're taking. So this is good practice leading up to that. So let's take a look at this question together before we solve it. So that's not great. There were 2,353 students in a school. They were divided into classes of 32 students each. So I see this word divided, which is a big hint, okay? Question A asks how many classes were there? And B, how many children were left? So this really ultimately is coming down to a division problem where there's going to be a remainder. So fifth graders, go ahead and pause and come on back and see how you did. All right. So we first have to start with our division, which I didn't leave a lot of room for, but we're going to be doing 2,353 divided by 32. Okay, switching this over. So 32 does not go into 2, does not go into 23, but it does go into 235, okay, 7 times. So now we multiply 32 times 7 is 224. We do our subtraction and get 11 and bring down a 3. 32 goes into 113 3 times, which we multiply and get 96. Okay, we subtract and end up with 17. So that means for part A, how many classes were there? We would say A, there were 73 classes. How many children were left? B, there were 17 children left. Okay, how'd you do? If you have questions, make sure to let me know and we can talk through it. All right, fifth graders, we're picking back up with fraction word problems, okay, solving these word problems. So you should be able to find this sheet. Fraction word problems day 2. We're going to work through these together. Again, you're going to be doing some working along with me, some pausing and coming back to see how you did, and then we'll have a couple, like 2 practice problems probably, and 2 homework problems, okay? So get yourselves ready to work along with me. I'm going to flip you around, and then we're going to get into it. Starting with number 1. Pardon me while I get situated. All right. So remember, when it comes to word problems, we start by reading the problem. So Alejandro ate 6 pieces of cake in a week. He ate 1/3 of the remainder the next week. If he still had 4 pieces of cake left to eat, how many pieces of cake were there at the start? Next, we want to underline the question and then write that answer statement. There were blank pieces of cake at the start. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about, in this problem here, this word remainder, and that's going to show up a ton in our problems today, right? And remainder means whatever is left after that first part, whatever is left, okay? So we're going to look at cake. This is a who or what. This is a problem about cake. So that's our label, and then we draw our unit bar. Okay, so we're seeing that Alejandro ate 6 pieces of cake in a week. So we're going to just label any amount of this 6, right? We're not really sure yet what we're dealing with, okay? We're then told he ate, I'm going to change this so it's really clear it's not the same size as what we're doing next. So I'm making this a little bit bigger. So 6 pieces of cake in a week. He then ate 1/3 of the remainder. So that means the remainder, everything that's not the 6 he already ate, should be broken into equal thirds. Okay, so he ate 6 in week 1. 1/3 of the remainder he ate the next week. So I'll call that week 2. And then we're told that he had 4 pieces still left to eat. Okay, and then we get this question where we're going to add our question mark. How many pieces of cake were there at the start? So in other words, where did he begin? Okay. So we're kind of dealing with this in 2 steps here, 5th graders. This first part is a different length, okay? A different size. So we can't really work with that yet. But we are going to focus on this part right here, okay? We have 3 equal boxes. So just like what we were doing earlier, we're going to do a division problem and a multiplication problem, okay? I'm even going to just cover this up for the purposes of working through this, okay? So covering up this part. So looking at what we do know, what is our division problem going to be? We will start with this known amount and then look at the picture. What does it tell us to divide by? Yeah, 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. That means each of these boxes is equal to 2, right? These are 3 equal boxes. So now we look back. Do we have enough information to find? I guess we don't have to do a multiplication problem here. We could just add it all. But do we have enough information here to find out the total? Yeah, we do. We have 3 2's, so 3 times 2 equals 6, which means this is equal to 6. And then we want to add the 6 from earlier to get 12. So how many pieces of cake were there at the start? There were 12 pieces. Okay, let's try another one. Very similar. We're going to work through it together. So again, we start by reading the problem. Tia read 20 pages of a book on Monday. She read 1/4 of the remainder on Tuesday. If she still had 165 pages left to read, how many total pages were there in the book? We underline our question here and then write our answer statement. There were blank total pages in the book. So now we go back and look at the who or what. This is a problem about pages of a book. Not Henry pages, just pages in a book. Okay, now we draw our unit bar. And so now we go back and look at the problem and start chunking it out. We're told that she read 20 pages of a book on Monday. So again, I kind of want to make it clear that this is a different size than what we're going to be looking at as we chunk out the rest of it, okay? We're then told, so remember, this kind of becomes its own separate thing for a stretch of the time, because then we're told she read 1/4 of the remainder on Tuesday. So I covered up the part that we've already done. So now we want to break the remainder, or what's left, into fourths. She read 1/4 of it on Tuesday, we're told, and still had 165 pages left to read, which means that this is equal to 165, okay? How many total pages were there in the book? So again, this is very similar to what we worked on in our last problem. So let's focus on just the remainder for now. We have to do a division problem. So remember, we look at our known amount. What amount do we know? That's right, we know 165, which we're going to have to divide something. Looking at our picture, what do we divide it by? Yeah, 3. There are 3 boxes there. So probably you're not able to do this in your head, and that's fine. I'm going to do a little bit of work over to the side. So it doesn't go into 1. It goes into 16 5 times. With a remainder of 1, we bring down the 5. Goes into 15 5 times with no remainder. So what does that mean? Yeah, it means that each of these boxes is equal to 55. So now for our next step, I do think we're going to have to do multiplication here. We want to figure out this whole part that we can see so far. So how are we going to do that? 55 times what? Yeah, times 4. Or you could also say, well, I know it's 165 here, so you could add 165 to 55, and that would work too. Either way, you should get your answer, okay? But when we do the math, we should end up with 220. So that means that these 4 boxes are equal to 220. But we're not done yet. Remember, we have 20 more. We can probably add this last part in our heads, right? We're adding 20 to 220. And what should we get? 240. Good. All right, fifth graders, we're going to try number 3. It's similar, very similar to what we've already done, but there is a slight difference. So we're going to go through this together. Kai wrote 6 thank you letters in the morning. He wrote 2/5 of the remainder in the afternoon. If he had 36 thank you letters to write total that day, how many letters did he have left to write? So, of course, we underline our question and then we write our answer statement. He had blank letters left to write. All right. So now, who or what is this problem about? This is a problem about letters. And we write draw our unit bar. All right, we're told that he wrote 6 letters in the morning. So again, I'm just going to kind of try and make sure that this looks different than what the rest of them will look like. So this is his morning writing. I'm saying AM to show morning. And then it said he wrote 2/5 of the remainder. Man, oh man, my spelling. Remainder, that should be 2/5 of the remainder in the afternoon. So what do we need to break the remainder into? Remember, the remainder is everything that's left. So if he's doing 2/5, we want to break this into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal boxes. Okay, he wrote 2/5 of the remainder in the afternoon. So this is going to be 2/5 for our PM, right? 2/5 of the remainder. Then we're told he had 36 thank you letters to write total that day. That means all together. He had 36 thank you letters to write. The question is, how many letters did he have left? Okay, question mark goes there. All right, so here we're looking at a problem with 5 equal boxes and then 1 more that's not equal. And so remember, we always want to do what we can to be working with all equal boxes. So currently we want to think about mathematically, how can we get rid of this amount mathematically? Yeah, we're going to try to subtract, right? We have 36 total, and we want to subtract 6 to get rid of that unequal part, okay? Which means 30. So what that tells us is if we take this 6 away, what's left, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes are equal to 30. Okay, now we can go back to our typical division problem, multiplication problem. Okay, so we're no longer looking at this 36. We're focusing on this 30 here. So, division. We have 30, and then we look at the picture. What does the picture tell us to divide by? That's right, we need to divide by 5. 30 divided by 5 is 6. That means each of these boxes is equal to 6. Now we're set to answer the question. We look at our question mark. We need to multiply 6 by something. What does our question mark tell us to multiply by? That's right, by 3. So 6 times 3 is 18. How many letters did he have left to write? 18 letters. Then we fill in our answer. Good job, 5th graders. Okay, we're going to flip the page over and see where we're at. Got a few more to do. All right, let's read through number 4 together first. Carl baked 35 cupcakes on Friday. He baked 4/7 of the remainder on Saturday. If he had to bake 175 cupcakes total, how many cupcakes did he have left to bake on Sunday? So 5th graders, I'd like for you to pause and try this one on your own. It's much like the first 2 that we did. And then come on back and see how you did. So you should have started by underlining your answer statement. And to be clear, as I'm going through, if you need to be changing or adding things, then you should do so, okay? Then we write our answer statement. He had blank cupcakes left to bake on Sunday. Okay, who or what is this problem about? This is a problem about cupcakes. And we draw our unit bar. All right, we're told that he baked 35 cupcakes on Friday. So again, I keep trying to make sure that it's clear that this box is different than the other ones in size so we don't confuse ourselves visually. Now we're talking about 7ths of the remainder. So looking at the remainder, remember everything that's left, we're going to break it into 7 chunks. I did okay. This last one's kind of big though. Okay. So now if you look at your remainder, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 4/7 of the remainder, 1, 2, 3, 4, he baked on Saturday. If he had to bake 175 cupcakes total, how many cupcakes did he have left to bake on Sunday? I guess I shouldn't have said this was like the first 2. It's really like the one we just did. So again, remember, we have all these equal boxes and this unequal one. So how do we get rid of that? Mathematically speaking, you want to start by doing subtraction. 175 minus 35. That's going to be our first step so that we can be looking at all equal boxes. So subtraction, you should have ended up with 140. So that means then that we're focusing here on 140, on just the remainder. So again, we move on to our division and we let the picture tell us what to do. 140 divided by what? Divided by 7. What do we get when we divide 140 by 7? Yeah, we get 20. That means each of these is equal to 20. Our final step is a multiplication problem. What are we multiplying by? Look at your picture. By 3. So you should have found that he had 60 cupcakes left to bake on Sunday. How'd we do, 5th graders? Okay, maybe? Okay. Let's read through number 5 together. Sarah had to practice pitching softballs 420 times a week. She practiced pitching 100 times on Monday. She pitched 5/8 of the remainder on Tuesday and Wednesday. How many more times did she have to practice pitching that week? So 5th graders, this one is just like 3, just like 4. So I'd like you to pause, give it a try, come on back and see how you did. So underline that question, write your answer statement. She had to practice pitching blank more times that week. So we're looking at pitching or pitches or softballs, could be your label, something along that line. And we draw our unit bar. She had to practice pitching softballs, we're told that very first, 420 times per week. Maybe you labeled that on the bottom, and that's fine too. We're told she practiced 100 times on Monday. And then we're on to our remainder, which we're being told to break into 8ths. So we have 8 equal chunks here. 5/8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8 of the remainder she did on Tuesday and Wednesday. And the question is, how many more times did she have to practice pitching that week? So again, our step one is we want to get rid of this unequal size box, and we want to do it mathematically, which we do by subtracting. So 420 minus 100, you should get 320, which means this portion is 320. So now we look at what division problem we're going to do. And the picture should tell us. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 boxes. So we divide by 8, which when you divide, you should have gotten 40, which means each of these boxes is equal to 40. Now we look back at the picture. It tells us what to multiply by. We should have multiplied by 3, which gets us 120. So how many more times does she have to practice pitching that week? 120 more times. All right, one more, fifth graders, number 6. A group of math students had to solve 98 math problems in a day. They solved 46 problems in the morning. They solved 1/4 of the remainder in the afternoon. How many more problems did they have to solve that night? So we're going to work through this together. So underline that answer statement or that question and then write your answer statement. They had to solve blank more problems at night. So we're talking about problems or math problems. That's our label. And then we draw our unit bar. Now we read the problem again and start filling in our information. A group of math students had to solve 98 math problems in a day. They solved 46 math problems in the morning. They solved 1/4 of the remainder, so now we need to break up the remainder into 4 chunks in the afternoon. How many more problems did they have to solve at night? Again, this is following the same process that we've been following up to this point. So first things first, we want to have equal boxes. So how do we do that mathematically? We're going to subtract 98 minus 46. If you need to pause and do that, great, and then come on back. So you should have gotten 52 for your subtraction. So that means that we're now looking at this part being equal to 52. Now we look at the picture. What do we divide by? What does the picture tell us to divide by? Divide by 4. That's equal to 13. So each of these are equal to 13. Our final step is multiplication. Look at the picture. What does it tell us to multiply by? By 3, which when we multiply a 13 by 3, we can actually just break this into tens and ones, right? 3 times 3 times 3 ones is 9 ones. 3 times 1 10 is 3 tens, so 39. How many problems did they have to solve at night? 39 problems. So fifth graders, our word problems today kind of have 2 types to them. So what's going to happen is you're going to have a practice assignment, which is going to be similar to the problems that we just did. There's going to be 2 practice problems, and then there's going to be 2 homework problems. Remember, I keep talking about these checkpoints, right? How did today go? You were supposed to pause and solve a couple problems on your own. Did that go okay? Or was that really tricky for you? If it was really tricky, that's your cue. I should probably go to office hours and get some help, okay? If it went great, then you move on to those practice problems. Again, once you check with the key, how did I do? If you did great, then you could say, yeah, I think I'm ready for the homework. If when you compare your practice work to the key, you find that you didn't do that great, then that's again a cue. Hey, I should probably be going to visit office hours and getting a little bit of extra help. So take those checkpoints as a guide for where and how to be getting help, okay? All right, so remember that attachment today, there's 2 attachments. One's a practice. There's going to be 3 actually. One's a practice, one's the key for the practice, and then there's the homework, and you can solve that homework on any piece of paper and submit a picture of the work. But remember, your homework should have all of those word problem steps in it. So referring back to those notes as well is a great idea. Okay, good luck. Ask for help if you need it. I'll see you later, fifth graders.